starter fish. Good walleye for our first few casts in the river. That's what we're going to be targeting today. Hopefully we'll get some bigger ones. Working the river, going for walleyes. There you go. Today, folks, we're going to be fishing for walleye. It's mid-spring. We're going to be fishing in a river situation. And what our plan is to teach you how to not only fish the current with the jig, but to also have good boat control in that water so you don't get frustrated when you're out there. So stay tuned and we'll show you how.
The Angler's Experience is proudly sponsored by Crestliner, leader by innovation. Tobler Marina, your one-stop boat shop. Oxart, your single-source supplier. Lincoln Electric, the welding experts. Easy Loader, all boat trailers are not created equal. And Honda Marine, it's all about power.
There's one right there. Bites on this morning, guys. There we go. This is a smaller fish. He's just a little guy, but he was willing to eat. He ate her down good. They're really aggressive. You can see how far he's got it down in his mouth there. That's how you tell if they're aggressive. He's hooked on the lip. They'd be in kind of a negative mood, but they're feeding pretty hard this morning. There we go. Nice little eating size. Yeah, there. What we're doing is we're looking for any kind of a current break out here. This is our main river channel out here, and up above us, you can see a little point coming out. And what that's doing is creating a current break. The water's pushing around and actually coming back up the shoreline. And what it does, it's hard to see, but it creates a slack bar through the middle. That's where your bait's getting stuck at. That's where the walleyes are going to be. So what you want to do, instead of vertical jigging, it's almost impossible to vertical jig in this kind of current. You can't keep up with your bait, the sway, and the current pulls the bait out of the strike zone. So what we want to do is cast the bait up into that neutral point, and we're going to work it back to us. And the key to this is to reel. You don't want to get any slack. The current's driving that jig head down into the rocks, and what'll happen is if you let it get slack, it'll get wedged down in there, and you're going to lose your bait. So it's better to reel faster, and then as you start to get the feel for the bottom, slow it down, and always remember to keep popping it along. What we're trying to do is imitate crawdads, sculpin, anything hanging down there in the rocks. So remember, keep reeling, keep the slack out, you won't lose as much gear. They're biting good today. This is a smaller one. These aggressive males are up in here. This is post-spawn, and they're willing to eat anything. If you like to come catch numbers, this is the time to do it. He's pulling all right. There he is. There's another small male. Swing him up here. There we go. This little, what we call a cigar, this is a small little male. Fun to catch, so great for kids. There you go, buddy. There we go, fish on. Another small guys are thick. This is when it's fun fishing. All those winters you spend out there jigging the deep water and you get maybe 1, 2, or maybe you're lucky and get a dozen. But come out here on a day like today and catch these guys chewing. It makes up for all them slow winter days. We're looking for the big one. We'll get there. For our jig heads, I've got a wide selection, and you don't have to as a consumer have all these, but if I was to break it down to you what a good box would look like, this is my 1/8 and quarter box, I call it. And basically you can see I've got a variety of colors here. This is the salmon orange color right here that I really like in an 1/8 ounce, and then a 1/16 or in a 1/4 ounce would look like this right here. I'll get one of these guys out of here. That would be a 1/4 ounce head. And the current's going to dictate to you what size head you're going to need to use. But the colors, if you don't have the budget to go out and buy tons of gear like I have, basically what I can tell you to focus on the color end of things is this salmon orange. I call this a tequila sunrise, and it's basically a half salmon orange and a chartreuse on top. That's an excellent color. Get some in 1/8 ounce and 1/4 ounce. And then lime greens. This is a half and half. It's a lime green back with a dark green head on it. These 3 colors, if you put these 3 colors in your box, they're going to work for you. Also, a great way to do it is, it's a little more inexpensive, is to go straight lead heads. You can buy them in bulk. They're extremely cheap. You've got powder coat paints on the market now where you can heat them up, dip them, and make them any color you want. So that's also another great option, and I'll show you that box also. There we go. See? Hear that pull and drag? Those walleyes can pull. Don't let anybody fool you. A little better fish. Oh yeah, pulling good in the current. That jig right in her snout. Taking the defensive posture with her dorsal fin. There she is. She's got her defensive posture up. She's got her fin up. Snout closed. Get this hook out here. Boy, man, it barely hooked. Now getting a little bit better. Then we'll get a bigger one for you guys by the time the day's over. Send her back. There you go. There's a fish right there. There's a good one. A little bit better fish right there. A little bit better fish right there. Oh yeah, that's fighting good. Really pulling this current. Anybody who says walleye don't fight haven't caught them in the current. Get him. There he is, just a small guy, but you guys saw how hard he fought in the current. Like I said, for those of you who don't think that walleye don't fight, you haven't ever caught one in the current before. This is a small guy, be a good size for eating. If you're gonna eat them, keep this size. We need to let the females go, let the big ones go. We'll turn this one back. We got enough fillets in the freezer at home. There he goes. Another technique for fishing these eddies is we'll position our boat in this fast water out here facing this direction and fish what we call the head. And a lot of times that's where the active fish will be at. They'll be up in the head, feeding on anything that's floating by, crawdad parts, insect larvae, anything like that. But sometimes the fish get in a negative mood and they'll actually rest in what we call the tail. You can see we're facing the wrong way, but the current's swinging like this, and they'll sit right in the back end of it where it starts to slack. It swings, the other part swings that way, and there's a separation line this direction instead of this direction, and then they'll sit in that, and that's kind of where they'll rest at. So a lot of times what you want to do is turn your boat the other way, hug the bank, and fish that resting point down there instead of the head. And that way you can completely fish the total eddy, and you know you've worked it before you leave it. They're getting a little bit bigger. Keep control of the boat here. See if we can get her up here. Come here, girl. They're getting a little bigger. We're starting to find the bigger ones. It just takes a little bit of time. Just got to be patient. Patient and work your eddies thoroughly. Look out over here. Like so. They're getting a little bit better, guys. We'll get there. Got to be patient. Fish hard. There she goes. Thanks, darling. Slip down to another little eddy. Run out of fish, you just move and you'll run into some more. A good little bend in the rod. Not a huge fish, but fun to catch. They're all fun. They're all good. Down there. Come here, girl. Another small fish, but we're catching them. That's better than not catching them. Oh, proverbial rockfish. When you come river fishing, be prepared to lose jigs, and you're going to lose quite a few. Sometimes you can get up above them like we'll try to do here and retrieve them, but you're going to lose jigs. And my suggestion is, you know, if you're worried about cost, just buy plain lead head jigs. We'll show you when we go through the gear we're using today, but don't be afraid to lose jigs, because it's just going to happen. You're fishing current, they get washed underneath the rocks, and you know, we got lucky there and got that one back. But just be prepared to lose jigs, and have a good supply of bulk jigs on hand, because you will go through them. Here's one of my bulk bents here. I keep this one in the boat with me. As you can see, that none of these are painted, and sometimes a plain jig head will catch more fish than a color jig head, and a lot of it's determined by the water clarity. If the water's clear, sometimes a real bright head will throw the fish off, so you want to keep a selection of lead heads, just straight lead heads, on your boat with you. But I've got them in sizes. This is a 16th ounce, 8ths, quarters, 3/8, halves, and then halves and above, 5/8 and bigger, okay? But this is just a good selection of just straight bulk lead head jigs. They're inexpensive. You don't feel bad when you lose them, but you always want to have some of these on board with you, along with your colored jig heads. Hopefully this is one of the ones that we're wanting to show you. Staying down deep, acting like a big fish. Oh yeah, there's a pretty good sized glow down there. There's a better one, guys. Look at there. Stay on there, baby. We'll let you go. Just come here and say hi. Just got her hooked in the lip. There we go. There's a nice one. Oops, hang on, girl. There's a nice one there. That's probably a spawned out female. She's pretty skinny. They've been off for a little while. Nice thick fish across the back. Probably 23, 24 inches long. That's a nice one there. So I told you we were going to put in our time and get you some bigger fish. We just got to keep getting bigger now. Big toothy buggers. Yeah. Well, let's get her back. There she goes, healthy as can be. We've changed holes. We moved up to a little swifter water, see if we can locate some bigger fish. We fished a few eddies down there in the slower water. We picked up some fish. We know those fish are there. We moved up to see if we can maybe find some bigger fish. We're just experimenting with a few different eddies right now. So we'll fish this one and see what happens. They might not be up here, or they might be up here heavy. We'll see. Now there's a few up here in the faster water. He's a long, skinny guy. Come here, buddy. He's a small guy, but he was up here in the fast water. He's one of the few. He got a little slow up here in the fast water for us. There we go. This little guy, but nice and thick through the back. Decent, we'll take him. He's got fins and swims. There you go. There we go, fish on again. We just released that one, got back in the water. They're up here in the fast water. I think it's a big fish. ornery though, using the current good. The big bone rod. All right. Oh, look at there. Yeah, he's not a big one, but boy, is he feisty. See, look at that little guy. All right, buddy. He's one of those ornery ones like we talked about. He's a little guy, but he'll fight with the best of them. Beautiful gold colors on them. Pretty fish. Patented walleye white spot on the tail. We had 3 casts and 3 fish on. I only managed to land 2 of them. Let's see if we can go for a 4 here. Work it down this seam. Oh, there he was. Just bit it. See if we can get him to come back. Oh, there he is. All right. 4 casts, 4 fish. You just got to keep moving. If you come into an eddy and you're not hitting fish, you just change up a couple times. If that doesn't produce, then move on. They're just not holding there. They'll hold to certain eddies and you'll get a mass of fish in just specific eddies. Today they're just liking a slower eddy. We're adjacent to fast water with some good depth to it. This one's pulling pretty good. This one here might have some shoulders on it. Putting a good bow in the rod. Yeah, that's not a bad one. There we go. A beautiful golden walleye. Kind of like cookie cutter shape today. They're all the same size. We've got to try to break out of that mold. We've had a couple decent fish, and you're always trying for the big one, but if you don't always get them, that's all right. But we're going to keep working at it because it's fun. Kids, don't stick your finger in their mouth like that. I know there's some guys out there saying that's not right. Don't stick your finger in there. I trust them. There you go. Nice fish. All righty. See you later, buddy. There you go. The baits that I'm running, like I said, is the Berkeley Power Grub 4-inch. And my favorite color all the time when I go, it's the first one I tie on, is a camo. You can see it's kind of a brownish green. It's got red and gold flake in it, and this is the one I stand by most. I love this bait. My second bait that I go to is, say this bait's not producing, maybe the red and gold's a little too flashy for them. I settle it down and go with the watermelon. This is just basically a green bait with black fleck in it. Okay. If I'm heading to the river and I know it's rained real hard a couple days before and I get there and the water's real high and muddy, this is the bait. I don't generally like this bright of a colored bait. I like the more subtle applications to imitate the crawdad sculpin. But if you get there and it's real high and the water's real discolored, don't get frustrated. Go out, throw on a lime green like this, and give it a shot. This is what'll pick them up in that real muddy water. But if you get those color selections of Berkeley Power baits and throw them in your box, they're your go-tos. They will work for you. You can cycle through your lead head weights. You can cycle through your colors, and you'll find a color that'll work for you. There's one right there. A small male. Seem to be hanging out in the back end of the eddies. The current's a little bit higher. Seem to be resting back here in the back side. It's another small male. I'll take them. Up in here. Just another little male. Good eater though. If you're looking to put some in the freezer, good size. Send him back. There he goes. There we go. A little better fish. Staying down good in the current. There we go. A little better fish. This one ate it pretty good. There we go, we got her. Oh, she's got a tag in her too. See that there, guys? She's been tagged. What we'll do is we'll take that information down and we'll call the local fish and game department and we can track where she's been and they can get a little information off of her. Sorry, baby. Yeah. Boy, she got it down there. There we go. I want to show you guys a little something here. You can tell that these guys have been rooting around in the rocks right here. See that abrasion right on the cheek right there? She's knocked some scales off. She's probably been down there rummaging around for crawdads and sculpins. That's how you can tell she's got the wear marks on her cheek down there pounding around the rocks. That's how you can tell if they're feeding down the bottom. Well, we got her tag information. We're going to send her back. There she goes. Well, folks, it's the end of the day, and we've had a glorious time on the water. Hopefully we've shown you some new techniques and how to go out and catch walleyes in the early part of the summer on rivers. We didn't catch the big fish like we had hoped, but you can't always catch the big fish, and that's part of the reality of fishing, you know. You got to go out and try. We caught a lot of fish, a lot of males. You know, hopefully my information that I gave you was information that you can take out and use on your local river. And most importantly, I just want to say thanks to you for watching and supporting the show, and I hope to see you next week.
For a list of today's gear and techniques, log on to axfishing.com and select AX Journals.